And communication is quite an interesting one. People say, oh, I know how to communicate. Yes, we communicate with each other. We're fine. Yeah, we don't have a problem with communication. Then when you listen to them, you actually discover they don't communicate particularly well. And one of the biggest things that we need to do when we talk about communicating is to listen. And yeah, again I'm told, oh yeah, I'm listening. But actually they're not listening. Not really. They're probably doing something else. And nowadays it's even worse because we've got so many more distractions. The TV might be on. You're looking at social media. The children are talking. All of them at once, if they're anything like my family. And nobody's really hearing what's being said. And if you're distracted doing something else as well, perhaps loading the dishwasher or whatever it is, playing with the dog, you can't really concentrate on what somebody's saying. We can't multitask. We can, yes, simple multitasking like walking and talking we can do. But we can't read an email, watch TV, talk on the phone and text a message to someone on another device. We can't do it. It's not possible to multitask in that way. You try writing a text and watching something on TV and I promise you, your mind will switch. You won't be able to do it. You won't be able to hear every single word that's said on the television and be able to text and concentrate fully on that. It's not possible. Our brains can't do it. So listening, what's that about? We don't just listen with our ears. We listen with our whole body. It's important to pay full attention to somebody else, to give them every part of us, every part of our being to that other person. And allowing them to finish what they're saying rather than interrupting. So if you are not looking at somebody full on, they don't feel that you're paying them attention. If you're looking somewhere else, over their shoulder, round the room, it feels really unpleasant. It feels like we're disregarded. It feels like no one's interested in what we have to say. So that's one really important factor, is listening completely, paying full attention. And listening attentively, as well as allowing that person to finish what they're saying, rather than, what often happens is that one person who's listening, they're practicing what they're going to say in response halfway through what the other person's talking about. And if you don't believe me, test it out for yourself and see whether you really are hearing and really paying attention. Because I bet your bottom dollar you're not. And you know what? You're going to miss such vital pieces of information if you don't really listen, if you don't give that person your full attention, listen to what they have to say till the end of that sentence. I know there are people that bore us to tears. I know there are those people that go on and on and on. Now, if that's the case and you do feel that they are just holding court, then politely interrupt them and say, you know, you've made some, can I just stop you a moment? You've made some really interesting points, but I feel there's such a lot of interest in that. I'd like to go back to what you said, la la la. It's so much nicer than just butting in and taking over the conversation. Have you ever been in a situation when you're explaining something to someone and then they respond by topping it? Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've got this, I've had that. And they tell you about their experience. Now, it may be that the one thing you want to talk about is really, really important to you and it's bothering you. Maybe you've got a problem and you just want to air it, but you don't want someone else to tell you that their experience was worse than yours. You want to be heard. And it's the same if you're listening. Don't interrupt. Don't tell them a better story, a worse story, a more gory story, or tell them that you know what it feels like, because you don't. It's so disrespectful if you're not listening. I hear so many people tell me they are listening, but they're not. They're paying lip service, and it really feels very uncomfortable to feel that you aren't heard, that nobody's interested in what you have to say. I've been in so many situations where I've been in a conversation with someone in business and someone else has actually butted in and turned their back on me and carried on talking to the other person. I've stood there with my mouth open because it's so rude. I've had situations where somebody's interrupted me and they've told me they know exactly what I'm talking about. No, they don't. They don't know what I'm talking about. They don't know what I'm feeling. And I've had situations where people have just talked over each other and no one's been listening to anybody else. They've just been wanting to get their bit in, and that feels more important. And yes, it is about what I do. It is a part of listening to people, really trying to understand what they're trying to convey. And if you don't understand, then tell that person. Actually say, I want to check I understood that. Did I get the story right? They will value that far more than you assuming you know what they were trying to say and just going off on your own tangent. And also check what that person wants. If they're talking, listen, and then if they haven't explained what they need, then ask them, is there something you need from me? Do you need any advice or help? Or are you just needing to be heard? Sometimes we just want to say it out loud, and the reasons we do that is, first of all, we need to get it off our chest if it's something upsetting us, and secondly, talking it out loud can actually help us process things and we figure it out for ourselves. So we don't always need a solution.